built around 300 years ago, Blenheim Palace, the most extraordinary place in the heart of Oxfordshire, in the heart of England, and with an extraordinary history. Winston Churchill was born here, and the aesthetically astounding grounds were designed by none other than Capability Brown. And as the seats of the Dukes of Marlborough, this is a suitably magisterial setting for the final leg of the Event Rider Masters 2017.
Welcome to the Event Rider Masters 2017. Now in its second year, this is the ultimate eventing series, spanning 7 events in 7 iconic locations across Britain and Europe. The final leg of the Event Rider Masters will play out at the spectacular Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire. The scene is perfectly set to crown the series winner here at the Blenheim Palace International Horse Trials, in what promises to be a fantastic finale to the 2017 season. Competition for the final places will be fierce, as 40 of the world's very best international horses and riders from 10 different countries will battle for glory in a last-ditch attempt for a podium spot and precious series points. This stellar field of eventing superstars and Olympic heroes will be showcasing the finest in equestrianism and tested to their limits across the 3 classic eventing disciplines. From the style and grace of dressage, to the precision and accuracy of show jumping, to the power and adrenaline of cross-country, in their quest for eventing's ultimate prize. This is the Event Rider Masters.
Welcome to Blenheim Palace. This incredible location is the perfect setting for the 2017 series finale. We have arguably one of the strongest fields that we have seen in the Event Rider Masters series so far. 5 of the world's top 10, 6 former leg winners all line up, and it promises to be an incredible finale. Yesterday was all about the dressage, but today is all about the jumping. Eventing really is the triathlon of equestrian sport, and we have so much to look forward to. Thank you for joining us. In the studio with me, Fred Bergendorf, head coach for the Swedish Olympic team, or the eventing team I should say, and Dern Byrne from Echo Ratings. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say, but it is not just us here in the studio. Let's go and say a very good morning to Alice Blunkett. Morning, Alice.
Hi, Nicole. Hi, everybody in the studio. Welcome to the heart of the show jumping. Of course, as you said, Nicole, triathlon is eventing, and show jumping is the second phase. Dibody, the course designer, has designed a really tough track, Nicole, and we know that this phase is going to be super influential before the cross country that comes later on this afternoon. We will be in reverse order of merit according to yesterday's dressage results, and 1 fence separates the top 8, 2 fences separates the top 18, so there will be a massive change around, I'm sure. And Nicole, I know you're going to highlight who we think are going to be those good jumpers, because they're going to need to be really good jumpers.
Well, they certainly are. And as Echo Ratings will tell us later, they need to jump clear here at Blenheim. But let's just remind ourselves of all of the dressage action from yesterday.
Leg 7 of the Event Rider Masters 2017 kicked off in full view of the spectacular Blenheim Palace with the dressage. 39 of the world's best horses and riders look to impress at the season finale.
He's quite hot in the dressage, and he's really shown that this year, and it's really about time Don and I pulled our finger out and got up there a bit more. And for us, Blenheim is that last opportunity with the ERMs.
Oh, of course, we always like winning, don't we? But to be honest, we're delighted to be here. It's a great venue, it's a wonderful thing, and ERM for me is very exciting.
And the judges were impressed with what they saw. 8 horse and rider combinations were awarded sub-40 scores, 2 more than Equi Rating statistics predicted at the start of the day. Alex Huachan and Don Janiro of China finally found their form in the Masters for 2017. The duo clocking up a 36.9 to secure third after dressage.
What a result for this young man, because he has worked so hard with this horse.
Fresh off the back of his leg 6 win in Scotland at Blair Castle, Australian rider Shane Rose did his podium chances here no harm, with a 35.8 on CP qualified and second place overnight.
This is looking very likely to be our new leader, Shane Rose. He comes here from the win at Blair Castle just a few weeks ago. He is on exceptional form.
But it was British rider Izzy Taylor and Be Touchable who stole the show on day one. The combination's exceptional test earning them a personal best of 35.7, and with it, the live lead going into show jumping.
Yeah, he was fantastic. He's a very exciting horse. He's always had the potential to a fantastic test, and he was really good today.
Well, after the dressage yesterday, this is how things stand. Izzy Taylor Be Touchable out in front, but doesn't have anything in hand. Just 0.1 of a penalty ahead of Blair, Victor, Shane Rose and CP qualified. Oliver Townend on one of the best show jumpers in the field, Cooley Masterclass sitting just off the podium in fourth, another to keep an eye on. Gemma Tattersall, she's wrapped up this series win in 2017, just outside the top 10 with Chica Bella P on 43.2. And a little bit further down, RF West Indy, Millie Dumas at 46.8. They really are one of the best show jumpers in the field. But series points on offer for Marcio George, Coronel, MCJ. Keep a close eye on them. Wasn't quite the day in the dressage for a couple of our combinations. The tension creeping in, and it was an expensive first phase for Sydney Dufresne and a couple of others. But yesterday you introduced everybody to the list. So just explain to us what the list is and how people have got on it.
The magic list, Nicole. You have to be, if you want to win Blenheim, you got to be sub 45 in the dressage. You have to show jump clear. I've got 18 people on the list. I'm going to be knocking them off the list as they knock poles. Any time penalties, any fences on the ground, you're coming off the list.
Sounds brutal.
It's brutal.
We can't wait to watch. But let's take a look, because our competitors, they travel all over the world and they travel in their lorries. Let's have a look inside.
With 7 legs spanning the UK and Europe, the Event Rider Masters competitors cover a lot of miles during the eventing season. From the supremely modest to the positively magisterial, a horse box is an essential member of any eventing team. After years on the circuit, British-based Canadian rider Catherine Robinson and her horse Let It Be have secured one of the finest wagons in the fleet. Fresh from the factory, she shows us around her new pride and joy.
Hey, I'm Catherine Robinson and welcome to my lorry. So this is the horsey part. As you can see, it's quite spacious and it carries 6 horses. You've got fans up here so you can take them on the tunnel. Head girl lives, well, she sleeps up here so she can charge her phone and stuff. So this is the main area. Up here, me and my partner Giovanni sleep. Our boudoir with the skylight. Front bit with our dog bed, the main important bit for the 2 little girls. The cooker, got the microwave, and then got the fridge. And then you've got the pop out here, which makes a huge amount of space for us. You press in, takes a bit of time, and it just slides in, like that, and it goes back out. A little bit of space makes a huge difference. You can have more than one person crossing each other. You don't have to go bum to bum. So I have all my competition jackets, and my boots, my hats, got a shower and a toilet, hot running water, which is really nice. This bit is where we keep the saddles. So yep, this is where all the boots are kept. So competition white ones for dressage, jumping ones. When you're at one day, you tie your horse up here, and you've got a hose here to wash them down afterwards, so you don't have to use a bucket and sponge, but you can just hose them off. Thanks very much for coming and looking at my lorry, but I've got to go and do some work now and ride, so I will see you later.
think I've got house envy. That was a real treat to see inside the lorry of Catherine Robinson. We'll see her in the show jumping a little bit later on. Let It Be did a brilliant test yesterday for her in the first phase. But we're a little bit over 5 minutes now from the first horse coming into the show jumping. Let's go to Alice. Alice, who have you got for us?
Well, Nicole, I've got some of the main protagonists as we go into the show jumping phase. And our overnight leader is Izzy Taylor. Izzy, congratulations on yesterday. The Eck Ratings boys predicted you'd go well, but were you surprised?
I was thrilled with him. It's always a surprise slightly to be in the lead because you never quite know how you're going to perform on the day and how the judges are going to feel about it. But no, I was really pleased with the horse.
Can you hold on?
I hope so, yeah.
We know speed is one of your trump cards. What about the show jumping?
Yeah, he's a good show jumper. It's a tough course. It's very square. I imagine the time will be very tight, so it'll be a proper competition today.
Shane, you've been to every big world stage. Where does this show jumping course fit with that?
Yeah, it's really challenging. I think there's lots of tight turns, and if you want to take your time, you're going to get penalised with time penalties. So you've got to be accurate, tight, and your horse is going to have to be careful and use their scope, hopefully, to get over those back rails on a lot of the turns are two oxes. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
You've won a leg. Can you back it up?
Yeah, I hope so. Look, he's a great horse. The ground conditions are perfect for everyone out here, and it should be a fun afternoon.
Tim, you're lying in 5th place, but there's just one fence separating the top 8.
But they're all so damn good, aren't they? That's the problem. But no, she's a great jumper. I'm excited about the course Di's laid out. It's not easy. It just seems to be the theme. It's getting tougher and tougher. But yeah, looking forward to it, and she should jump well.
Di, everybody's been coming in here going, wow, metre 30 max and 77 seconds on the time. What was your aim?
Well, as Tim's just said, they're all so good. The horses are good, the riders are good, and they're getting better and better. So we have to keep giving them food for thought. I think it should be good. It's very tough, but it's the last leg, and hopefully it makes for good jumping and good competition.
Guys, she looks so sweet, doesn't she? But in fact, I mean, there's nothing. So you have created as tough a track as anyone's seen in eventing.
Oh, crikey. Well, I've seen them all year and they're just good. So I hope it makes them look good.
Well, we are set fair for a great competition. The footing is perfect, the setting is perfect, Nicole, and Di has produced a track that is going to be influential.
Well, we can't wait to see how it plays out. The running order is in reverse order of merit, so Izzy Taylor will be the last to jump. Who are the Echo Ratings ones to watch?
Absolutely, Nicole. I think Paul Sims has had one pull down in his last 2 rounds. He's going to be first in on Calidor, but I think Paul Sims and Sam Watson are the highlight. Calidor will give us a good read. They'll both be going for clear rounds. When we get in here, Tom McCune strikes smartly. They've never had a pull down in their international career together. 2 wins from 2 completions for that pair. One to keep an eye on. Ludwig is there but has withdrawn. Don't forget that. You will see a little gap there. Here it begins to get exciting. Chico Bella P, one of the best show jumpers in the field. I expect her to move up with Gemma Tattersall. Mark Todd, Kiltubbard Rhapsody. He, of course, is still chasing down Sarah Cohen and Treason. They're side by side. They'll be interesting to watch. We get to the top part of the show. This is when it gets exciting. Will the leader hold on? Be touchable. Izzy Taylor has jumped 23 clear rounds in 2017. That's more than anyone else in the field. Be Touchable and Izzy Taylor as a combination have had 1 pull down in their last 10 internationals. I think they'll hold on.
Well, watch this space because the first horse will be due in the arena in just a couple of moments' time. They're making their final preparations. You can just see Paul Sims there on the left of the shot, and he'll be just putting the finishing touches to his warm-up. Now, Fred, what are your thoughts on the course? Because we've had a brief chat about it, and I think it really is as tough as we all think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it looked like a great course, first of all. It's very technical. Like modern show jumping courses are these days. It's like one long related distance from start to finish. I think it's for the rider which can keep the horse in balance all the way. That old way of riding where you land and take, if you take 2 strides to recover, you've had it.
Okay, so Derm, in terms of the Echo Ratings list, who are the key combinations? And dare I ask you for an Echo Rating? I love an Echo Ratings prediction. Who is going to jump clear?
Who's going to jump clear? Well, I think Laura Collett, Graham Maneuver, they've made their way onto the list. They're sub 45. I think they will jump clear. I think Pippa Funnel and Chipia will jump clear. Gemma Tattersall, Chico Bella P, I think they'll jump clear. Izzy Taylor sits in the lead. I expect that'll be a clear round, but we're going to get a very good read on this, Nicole, as we go around. It's a big course. From talking to some of the riders, we're going to have Fred here, and I know you're going to concentrate on some of the technicality as well, but I think it's really going to bring everything, because a lot of the riders are saying to me, it's big. This is going to take jumping horses. I need to look at cross-country stats as much as I need to look at show jumping stats, Nicole.
How many clear rounds? A number?
Nicole, you always ask me this too early. I don't expect we'll have more than, I don't think we'll have more than 6. I think it'll be 6 or less. I think it's going to be a very influential day.
Fred, how many do you think?
It's difficult to disagree with that. Yeah, I go 5 then.
Well, we're about to find out, because the first combination to go is Paul Sims with Calidor, a combination who were actually top 10 at Blair Castle just a few weeks ago in leg 6. And Paul has been such a campaigner at the very top of the sport for a number of years now. Rides this 15-year-old for owners Edna and Henry Harding. 56.3, the tension crept into their test yesterday, which left them in 39th position. So reverse order of merit in the show jumping means Izzy Taylor, our dressage leader, will be the last to go. So the time allowed, 77 seconds. That's as things stand at the moment, but we'll keep a very close eye on that, because our ground jury will have the opportunity to adjust that should they so wish after the first 3 combinations have jumped. But Fred Bergendorf with us in the studio. Fred, just talk us around this course with Paul Sims.
Well, it starts with the first 3 fences. They are related, but it's quite nice related distances, and it's really important that you get your rhythm right from the beginning. We expect the time to be tight. It's very difficult to start to go quicker later in the course, and when the jump's also a bit bigger. Here's the first more technical dog leg back to the water tray, which he did really well.
Now, Calidor would be a horse that we would normally expect to jump clear, but unfortunately, one goes, as I said that, the curse of the commentator.
Well, 1 down at Blair, 1 down at Gackham. They're both CIC 3-star runs. We did have a little bit of time off for Calidor. There's only 3 runs then. There was only 1 run in 2016. So it's difficult to get a read. We've 2 today.
Now this, Fred, is the option, isn't it? So riders can take the planks, which is the direct route, or they can choose to go 18 metres longer over an oxer.
Yeah, and here he jumped the direct route and had really good balance and line into the combination, and he jumped that really well.
So the clock is still green, and inside the time allowed for Paul Sims and Calidor, just the 2 poles down. That sees him go forward to the cross-country on 64.3. Now, he didn't look to be moving that quickly, Fred, to my eye. What were your thoughts on his speed?
We have to see. I think his horse got a big canter, so he might have gone quicker than you think. So we have to take
he is enormous.
Yes.
Sherman, he's known as, Calidor, and he is quite huge. So he made the time quite comfortably, but expensive couple of poles.
I mean, interesting for me, and I think this one that we may see again over the course of the day. Coming off 4, the line is going to be so important, not just going into it. You've got those first 3 fences where you're finding your rhythm, but I think it gets particularly interesting when you come over 4, and then there's a number of lines that you're going to have to get right.
Well, away goes Sam Watson for Ireland with the Arda highlight, 56.1. Sam was really disappointed with his dressage yesterday, but this very much a horse for the future. And he came inside that fence then.
That's interesting. He's always got a bit of a shorter canter, so he definitely saved a bit of time there.
Just the first, well, both parts of the combination go there. And at the green, is that easy to read for horses with the grass being green as well?
Yeah, I think they will see that a lot. It does differ, but you're absolutely right. Certain colours the horses find much more difficult to see than others.
So in terms of statistics, Sam's obviously going to be very keen on his statistics being part of Equirating Stern, but he's used that to really improve his performance and focus on it as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, and absolutely. And actually, this is one of the strongest phases. Back in 2014, the show jumping phase would have been Sam's weakest phase. He's used the stats very well. He was actually the top-rated show jumper in the world at 3- and 4-star level, I say, as the last comes down. that record went at Barbary. Kitty King took over that. He'll be very disappointed, but I think this weekend is certainly going to be a learning weekend for Arda Highlight. He's in a big atmosphere. One to chalk up to experience, I think.
He'll be pleased, though, to have come back into the arena, given the horse more exposure to an arena such as this. Because, Fred, when you're producing a horse for the big occasions, training like this and opportunities to expose to such a big atmosphere as in the Event Rider Masters is key.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's only one way of practicing this, and that's to be here. Some horses takes to it really well. Others need a little bit more time to get used to it.
Now, I have to say, our first two combinations have both made the time comfortably, or comfortably enough. Do we think we may see some alterations, Fred? Would you feel that the time is comfortable?
Yeah, I think they keep the time as it is, would be my guess.
Okay, so Sydney Dufresne and Swing de Perdrier. We actually had a French winner here at Blenheim in the series finale in 2016. That was Thomas Carlyle and Upsilon. Sydney, our sole French representative this year. 54.7 he comes forward with. The horse that actually had a couple down and a couple of time penalties in the show jumping in Jardin withdrew after the second phase, so they'll be looking to put that behind them here.
Sydney has 31 CIC 3 stars, and he is looking for his 10th clear round at this level in the show jumping phase. Still going well so far.
And do you think we'll see anybody take the longer route? It tends to be most riders will go for the planks and risk having it down almost, because it is so much longer to go the alternative.
Yeah, I walked the longer route as well, and there's a fair few strides longer. I think all these riders are so technically accurate that having ridden this as well as they have, I think they'll continue to do that.
Well, a clear jumping round, 2 time penalties for Sydney Dufresne and Swing de Perdrier. He finishes on 56.7. But Fred Bergendorf with us in the studio alongside Dan Byrne from Echo Ratings. So Fred, you're in charge of the Swedish eventing team, aren't you?
Yeah, that's my job.
That's your job.
Exactly.
Excellent. So you've obviously had a busy few weeks with the European Championships. Congratulations on the team bronze.
Yeah, thanks. The riders were fantastic. They've had a really good spring, good year, so hopefully that can continue.
And exciting developments heading into the World Equestrian Games for next year as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we got some top riders. We need to focus on getting more horses. So that's one of the things we're trying to do, but very exciting for next year.
Well, we can't wait to follow your progress, and we're looking forward to hearing all of your thoughts on the show jumping. Alexander Hewell, Chakiri Star, now in the arena, 54.0 there, Dressage, and this is a combination who actually won the Intermediate Championships at Gatcombe last year, made their Event Rider Masters debut here 12 months ago as well, and finished just in the top 20. Now, so far, Fred, so good.
Yeah, so good. I think these riders are riding it really well. And it's not just about the amount of strides between the jumps, but the balance you got in the canter is really important. If you're going to have to accelerate and slow down, that makes it much more difficult. So just judging the pace, judging the balance is as important as working out exactly how many strides you get between the jumps.
Well, their last international round, they had 3 down. That was at Herastapan. That was in the CCI 3-star. Different story today. It all looks very positive as we come towards the last.
So just the final St James's Place planks, and they clear them well inside the time as well. So our first clear round comes courtesy of Chakiri Star and Alexander Hewell. They go forward to the cross country on a score of 54. So, Derm, thoughts so far on our rounds? We've had 2 jump clear, but only 1 with no penalties.
I would massively like to change my prediction of how many are going to jump clear. It is not going to be 6 or less, Nicole. I expect it is going to be somewhere closer to 12, 15 are going to jump clear. Yeah, we've got some very, very strong show jumpers in the class. You can't really tell, I think, until you begin to see how the horses deal with it. But so far, I would suggest that the horses who've jumped clear have had some problems in the past. We haven't had to rely on the top rated show jumpers for clear rounds. What I'm seeing early on is that we can expect more than I initially called.
it is just the class of the Event Rider Masters fields as well. It really is the very best. Georgie Strang comes forward now with Cooley Earl. Georgie made her Event Rider Masters debut in the dressage yesterday, here for the first time, 53.9. She was a little disappointed with that first phase score. Rides this 10-year-old by Ramiro B for owners Lance and Diana Morrish. And easily through the combination there.
Yeah, you can see she's got a really good rhythm, good connection with the horse all the way, ready to ride straight away when she lands again.
Now, Jem, from Echo Ratings perspective, what could we expect in the show jumping from this combination?
Well, one down at Harastapan, one down at Bramham. They were both CI 3-stars, of course. It is a little bit different in that you're jumping after your cross country rather than before it in this format, the CIC format. Still good. I mean, if they can get, Georgie has 17 runs in international runs in 2017. She's going for clear show jumping round number 10, and she's one fence left to make it.
So Georgie Strang, just the last to go. She's over the time though. The clock has turned red, and it'll be 5 time penalties because it is 1 penalty for every second and part second over that time allowed. So clear jumping, but 5 time for Georgie Strang and Cooley Earl. Now, she made that look actually like she wasn't travelling that slowly, Fred.
No, but she obviously didn't quite set the rhythm up as quick as she maybe could. And then also we see these riders, they are so good. So as soon as you give them a little bit more time, you know, they are fantastic jumpers these days.
Well, we have 1 clear round so far, and it is courtesy of the man who is talking to Alice.
Alexander, congratulations, a clear round.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased with him.
And you said to me off camera, this is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, it's taken a while to get him confident at this level, and that's his first clear round at 3-star.
What a place to do it in an Event Rider Masters in one of the strongest tracks we've ever seen in eventing.
Yeah, he tried his hardest, and I couldn't have asked for more.
Where is the toughest bit on this course?
I think the planks turn into the combination. It's quite a tight turn, and I think you have to have enough engine to jump into the combination and keep the power and make them jump well.
Well done, you've set the standard, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, news just in from our ground jury that the time allowed is staying the same, so it will not be changing. They, of course, have the opportunity to amend it after the first 3 combinations have gone. Catherine Coleman back to business now coming forward. And Fred, she was strategically saluting to the ground jury there, wasn't she? Right in front of fence 4.
Yeah. She obviously wanted the horse to have seen that water fence. Fence 4 is the first biggest line coming up, the first of the more difficult fences on the course.
And you are allowed to do that, aren't you? You just have to be a little clever about it.
Exactly.
Inventive.
Yes.
Well, will it work? That's the question, because she comes round to fence 4 now. To have just lost the canter slightly.
Yeah, she didn't get the best canter on the turn, but a very good jump over the fence.
Well, 1 clear round in their last 6. That came at Tattersalls. A clear round today would be a surprise. I wouldn't be expecting them to have more than 1 down, but I would be expecting that they will have 1. So let's keep an eye.
Rattled the triple bar somewhat. Well, there goes your pole, Derm. And what was the problem there, Fred?
Actually, I thought the horse started off jumping really well. She could have had a little bit better rhythm in the canter. So she got disunited canter between 1 turn, maybe lost the rhythm a little bit, and then it makes it much more difficult for the horses to jump.
So 1 pole down so far. The time is looking tight as well. The clock is going to turn red in just a moment, and those time penalties clock up very quickly. And the last goes as well. Well, that ends up being quite expensive. 13 to add for Catherine Coleman, and back to business. So she goes forward to the cross country, and Alexander Hewell, our only clear round so far with Chakiri Star. They go forward to the cross country on 54.0, but that is going to be a climber on the leaderboard. Just talk us through this round, Fred, because actually she started out looking very careful and then it unravelled slightly.
Yeah, we can see her a little bit. She has losing connection sometimes, so the contact she got both between the hands and the horse's mouth, and that the horse stays in front of the leg, and it becomes hard to keep that good, nice rhythm which the horses jump easier out of.
Gina Ruck comes forward now with Rehe 2. 51.4, this combination made their Event Rider Masters debut here 12 months ago and actually jumped clear in the show jumping on that occasion with 3 time penalties. So they're certainly capable of leaving the poles up. Finished second at Bramham in the big under-25s class a little bit earlier on this summer. And what makes that line back to fence 4 so tricky, Fred?
Because as you turn back to it, first of all, it turns a little bit quicker than we're used to. And you're very committed as soon as you land after 3. That's what makes that difficult.
Well, 1 down at the moment. They, as you say, Nicole, they did have a clear round and inside the time at Bramham when they went on to that second place result. They have had 1 down at Harbury, Bramham 2016 and Chatsworth 2016. So not overly surprising. They're fairly much in line with where we would expect. But can they limit it to 1? A second pole gets expensive here.
So coming to the final combination, just the 1 drops them behind Alex Hewell, but they'll only drop the 1 place on the leaderboard. Just chancing her luck slightly at the last, Fred, but she got away with it.
Yeah, she got away with it.
And the horse was pretty genuine. They obviously know each other really well. That must make a real difference.
Yeah, it looks like they really know each other. It looks like a very honest horse. She'll probably have a lovely time out on the cross country later on.
So Gina Ruck and Rehe 2, just the 1 pole down, so they drop below Alexander Hewell, Jakiri's start. But, well, we just see that final fence there, and they clear it nicely in the end. So now coming forward, it is Matt Heath with Cooley Lord Lux. This was a new ride for Matt at the beginning of the season. And actually a horse who I think, Derm, you put up as one of your Echo Ratings ones to watch for a potential clear round.
Well, Matt just hugely strong in this phase. So, I mean, that's the key thing. Sometimes you back the horses, sometimes you back the riders. But 53 CIC 3 stars for Matt. He's a 32% clear jumping rate. At this level, that's a very strong, you know, when you've got that amount of clears at this level, you know that there's going to be rider influence. Cooley Lord Lux has 4 clear from 9 CIC 3 stars. Again, just under 50%, very strong at this level.
The one thing I would note from memory of this combination at Gackham, I think they jumped clear but had time penalties. Would that be something, Fred, that he's looking to rectify today?
Yeah, and I think he's done it already because he went inside to fence 3. So I think the time is okay, but that probably was in his mind when he walked the course, and he started very, very good.
Buccalow last year, Flora Harris had a clear round with time penalties at Belton. This year, Matt had 1 down with time penalties. No time penalties on the clock so far today. This is looking good for a clear inside the time, Nicole.
Well, it certainly is. Clear inside the time, comfortably inside the time, by far the fastest we've seen. Matt Heath and Cooley Lord Lux give us clear round number 2, 50.5. And Fred, we talk a lot about the rhythm and actually you make up time the whole way round. And Matt was a real example of that.
Yeah, he was really good. He set off the way he continued. It really looked as if he had a plan and stuck to it and kept it the same all the way towards the end. Very good round.
So Matt Heath and Cooley Lord Lux add nothing to their dressage score of 50.5. That is going to see them no doubt climb the leaderboard. They were in 32nd place after the first phase, but they'll be looking to climb well inside the top 30. So now coming forward, it is Blythe Tate with Dasset Courage. Blythe on a score of 50.3. That left him just outside the top 30 after the first phase. And this is a horse that is experienced at 3-star level, had a bit of time off. So just stepping back up to the level, having been out with a small injury. But Blythe, of course, an Olympic champion, won 2 World Equestrian Games as well. He's a man who has a lot of experience. And so far, he's jumping beautifully, Fred.
Yeah, he's going really well here, and he knows a lot about pure show jumping as well, and you can see he's got good balance, good rhythm. I just hope he can keep it up to the end.
Already jumped 1 clear from their 1 international in 2017. That was at Mill Street, but they did pick up 2 time penalties that day. We saw Matt, who has had time penalties on Cooley Lord Lux, go clear and inside the time. still on track at the moment for Blythe.
Well, the time looks okay as well. So he's just got the 4 obstacles left to jump in the combination. Through there very nicely. So he comes to the final planks, a 50.3. Will this be clear round number 3? Yes, it will. Blythe takes Dasset Courage comfortably inside the time. And at 50.3, the score they take forward. So 3 clear rounds so far. Derm, you said you wanted to revise your number. What's a revised number? Go on, we'll let you change it.
Oh, I'm up in the kind of 12-13 area. I'm actually just beginning my research to see what's the most amount of clear rounds we've jumped. I'm pretty positive it's going to be Barbary 2017. But I'm already beginning to think, because of the strength of field that we have here, now that the course I know is right and fine, there's not one particularly troublesome one. You could say the last has fallen a couple of times. The first part of the combination at 5 has fallen a couple of times. There are some fences to keep an eye out for. But generally, the good jumpers are going to jump clear. It could be 12, 13, it could be more. Let's wait and see.
Well, Felicity Collins comes forward now with Vicky Collins is just amazing. And this is a horse who Felicity did a brilliant job yesterday on in the dressage. They were our pathfinders in the dressage. 50.2, which was a huge personal best for both Felicity and the horse at 3-star level. But in the arena familiarisation, just amazing. Was pretty intrigued by the big screen and looking a little green.
Yeah, it's a little tight in the canter, so she has losing a little bit of scope over the jump. So hopefully she can get a bit of confidence back in the horse and finish off a little bit more relaxed.
And it is a big arena, isn't it? And it will probably be the biggest track this horse has faced.
It's a big arena, it's a big track, it's a big everything. So if you're not used to it, it takes a little while to get the hang of it.
Just the 2 down at the moment, so on a score of 58.2, that'll drop them 4 places on the leaderboard. She saw a distance going down to that vertical.
Yeah, she's riding well. It's just the horse maybe not so used to it, gets a little bit tight.
Now, the first horse we've seen to take the alternative, do you think that would be to give her an easier line to the combination?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's just a very intelligent riding. Give the horse a little bit more time, just getting used to the arena and get a bit more confident in here. And finishing off well.
Clear of the last, and I have to say that was very mature riding, as you've just said. 8 time penalties and 8 jumping for Felicity Collins, just amazing. But it must be quite difficult if you come into the arena and your horse all of a sudden goes a little bit nervous and kind of looks to you for some reassurance.
Yeah, it is, and that's the fascinating part of our sport. That you really have to feel what you got underneath you all the time and ride accordingly, and I thought she did that really well.
So Felicity Collins completes with 16 to add to her total score. As next to come forward, it is Sam Ekroyd. Sam finished just outside the top 10 here 12 months ago. That was with Woden. Actually, he's been top 10 in the Event Rider Masters Series last year. Comes forward now with his own Arco BB. And the first horse we've seen with a sub-50 dressage. 49.5 their starting score. And a couple of fences down actually at Blair a few weeks ago, withdrew before the cross country. A bit out of character for this horse. Would that be fair to say, Derm?
Yeah, I think you're right there, Nicole. 2 down there, but a clear inside the time at Barbary before that. Did 1 down at Bramham 2017, but also clears an inside the time at Bicton, Floors and Houghton. They came at 2-star, and then of course at that Nations Cup at 3-star level. So absolutely they're a combination that can jump clear. You would be surprised to see more than 1 down. Given the way the course has jumped today, this is a good show jumper. I don't think a clear round is out of the question at all.
Looking good so far, Fred?
Yeah, you can see he's set off in a very good canter. He's got a big canter stride, very balanced canter stride. Really useful for jumping with, and he's doing a fantastic job at the moment, both horse and rider.
So just the last to go, and he clears it easily. Sam Ekroyd, Arco BB. Oh, well, Paul, did the last go then?
I didn't see.
I think it must have been a late falling plank. In fact, we just look out of our studio window and it was the planks at the final fence. So that is 4 faults for Sam Ekroyd and Arco BB. 53.5 they take forward to the cross country. And we'll get a better shot of that here. Just clipped it, Fred.
Yeah, the horse was trying to be so careful in front, a little bit forgot his hind legs. Small blip from an otherwise very good round, I thought.
Sometimes you do just have an unlucky fence, don't you?
Yeah, you know, the horses, they are animals. They got a mind of their own. The show jumper put the fences up in a way where they're trying to see how careful the horses can be.
So next to come forward, it will be Tom McEwen and Strike Smartly. But Fred, we've had a few clear rounds so far. It's actually proving a little bit more achievable than we so thought. Is that because everyone was so frightened that it was going to be terribly big? They're really respecting it?
Yeah, I think first we got real good riders here, and then also the time. It is tight, but I don't think it's as tight as they thought. That gives the riders a little bit more time to settle into their preferred rhythm of jumping, rather than being a little bit rushed, and that definitely makes it easier.
Well, can we call this one early, Nicole?
You did. You said Strike Smartly would jump a clear round. Tom McEwen comes forward. Tom, a very good rider in this phase, and this a horse actually he's completed 2 internationals on and has won them both at Chatsworth a little bit earlier on this year and at Campfire in July as well. 49.3 his dressage and a really economical line back to 3.
Yeah, Tom is a very good show jumping rider. You see he sees his strides early, he keeps his horses in good balance. Normally jumps the horses, I shouldn't have said that, in a way where it's really good to watch.
1 down for Strike Smartly. That's their first pole to fall in 2017. We wouldn't have expected it today, and it is going to be expensive. Pushes them down to 53.3. With things this tight, he cannot afford another one.
Well, as things stand at the moment, he would stay ahead of Matt Heath. Would stay behind, go behind Matt Heath, sorry, but ahead of Blythe Tate. Just the final combination. If he can get home with just the pole down, it wouldn't be overly expensive. The time is absolutely fine, and he does clear the last. So clear of the final St James's Place planks, and Tom McEwen strikes smartly. Just the 1 down, goes forward to the cross country on 53.3. But that's an unfortunate pole down to their record, and as you said, only pole they've had down so far this year.
Yeah, the last pole came with Daisy Berkeley at this very venue in the 8 and 9-year-old class. So CIC 3-star Blenheim may not be the course for Strike Smartly. Since then, they've jumped clear at Barbary, Campfire and Chatsworth. Of course, 2 of those being wins.
So Tom McEwen, just the 1 pole down, but we've 3 clear rounds so far. They come courtesy of Alexander Hewell, of Matt Heath and of Blythe Tate, and this next round is an important one for the series because Marcio George, Coronel MCJ could get themselves onto the series podium if they can put in a really strong performance today. They've got it all to do though. 49.2 their dressage, left them a little off the pace in 27th position overnight.
Big moment to see if they can jump clear. They've only jumped 1 clear from 6 CIC 3-star rounds, and there's your pole. They did jump clear at Blair, but other than that, they've had it 1 down in each of their last 5 internationals before that. We've got that again today. Will it be expensive as he chased down those podium places?
So come back to the SAP vertical, and this is one of those really technical lines that Dye Body has put into the course, Fred, that you were talking about a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, as soon as you get a little bit off your line, the distance becomes different, the balance of the horse becomes different. It is really important that you walk the course carefully and stick to your plan all the way around.
So coming down the final line, just the 1 pole down so far. This horse that if the rain came a little bit later on, he's very fast across the country, so would be looking to climb the leaderboard even more. He's inside the time, just the 1 pole down, so drops a couple of places. 53.2. So still just the 3 clears so far. And we'll be looking to see who else can add to it, because we are in reverse order show jumping here in the series finale of the event Rider Masters, and it is into the top 26 now. So some 13 combinations have gone. Okay, so Marcio George, Coronel MCJ, they've completed their round as Hannah Sue Burnett next to come forward with Harbour Pilot for the United States of America. 48.8 their dressage. They were very tense at the start of their test yesterday. Harbour Pilot very excited to be back here at Blenheim. Finished in the top 10 in the 3-star here 12 months ago. And it is sometimes very difficult, isn't it? When you've had a horse in an atmosphere in the dressage, and they get very affected by it. To come back into that arena just a day later, whether they might have the same again.
Yeah, it could easily happen, but also the good thing is here that seeing the show jumps and slight different technicalities, the horse looks very comfortable in here at the moment.
And what could we expect from this combination from Equa Ratings perspective, Derm?
Well, a clear round at Red Hills early in the season in March over on the other side of the water. We also had a clear round at Mill Street in Ireland, but other than that, I was going to say you can expect a pole. We have to limit it to one. There was one pole that fell at Lemoulin. That was at the 4-star in June. But we have to limit it to one. I think that would still be a good result. This is a horse that we are hoping will continue his experience in this phase. Now we're at 2. This is where we expected.
Well, 2 poles down is very costly on the leaderboard. The last goes as well. So 12 jumping and 1 time. The clock just turns red there, and just a couple of hundredths of a second over, which means 61.8 drops her down into 35th position as things stand. So Hannah Subernet and Harbour Pilot, what happened there? Because it started out well, and then unfortunately just a couple of late poles really did prove expensive.
Yeah, and sometimes that could happen, a little bit like you said, if the horse was a little bit tensed yesterday, maybe some of that tension was still in the horse, and when one fence goes, it is very, very easy that you can have another fence as well afterwards.
So Hannah Subernet, one of 3 Americans in the field. We've seen 2 of them, and we'll see Elizabeth Halliday-Sharp a little bit later on. But this is the man who was on the podium at Gatcombe just a few weeks ago. It is Alexander Bragg with the Sally Ellicott's Zagreb, 48.2 their dressage. Left them in 25th position overnight. Just over 3 fences behind our leader from the dressage, Izzy Taylor. And Alex very much shocked at international stardom when taking 5th place at Pau on this horse last year. And he was another to take that inside line from 2 to 3.
Yeah, I think if you got a lot of confidence in the horse that you can turn tight but still keep the quality in the canter, it saves a lot of time, but it is difficult, and here where it's so important that you know the horse is sitting on.
Well, Alex has been here in this class twice and hasn't yet show jump clear. Zagreb has been here once before and hasn't show jump clear. I would suggest recent form is very much stronger. Bicton, Gatcombe and Aachen all clear rounds, although he did pick up a time penalty at Aachen. He had 2 down at Barbary. That was unexpected. Everybody's talking about Zagreb this year. Will this be the time that they break this Blenheim curse? I think it could be.
I think Alexander's a great competitor himself as well. He's had a fantastic year. I hope he can keep it together.
Well, they were one of only a couple of clear rounds at Gatcombe, and they made it look very straightforward. They've done so again. It is clear round number 4, Alex Bragg and Zagreb. They go forward to the cross country on 48.2. He's pretty pleased with that, isn't he, Fred?
Yeah, he looks pretty pleased with himself, and now you see that inside turn to 3 and good rhythm, and it's over 5 seconds inside the time. Very impressive round.
So Alexander Bragg and Zagreb, 48.2. Will that leave them close enough to repeat their 3rd place finish at Gatcombe? We will have to wait and see. But Derm, from a form perspective, he really held up that Gatcombe form here.
Absolutely. There's a huge amount of confidence as well with this combination at the moment, which always plays a role in every phase. But Zagreb this year has jumped so well. This is going to be interesting. Nicole Hasty Imp, I spoke to Francis. He at the time was planning to take the longer route, so let's keep an eye on that. I'm not sure if he will or not.
So Francis Whittington and Margaret Smith's Hasty Imp, 47.5 in 24th position after the first phase, at 3 fences behind our leader. Within 3 fences of our leader, Izzy Taylor. Back.
It looks like he's keeping up a good rhythm.
Going to come back to the alternative in just a second. So do we think he's going to have kept to his plan, Fred?
I wonder. Looks like he's going pretty quick at the moment. Yeah. You're right.
So the second combination we've seen to take the alternative, he clears it, and it is about 18 metres longer. That equates to around 3 seconds, doesn't it?
The big thing that he said is that he has to make up the line. Again, he's done it.
Well, the clock is still green. Francis Whittington He clears the last and he's just inside. He sneaks inside that time allowed. 47.5. That is clear round number 5 for Francis Whittington and Hasty Imp. They've been inside the top 10 on 2 occasions in the Event Rider Masters series so far this year. And will they be making it number 3? He looks delighted with that. And Fred, when you have a plan that might suit your horse, you know you've got to catch up time. He was a real example of how to do that.
Yeah, Francis is really experienced, and you know your horse better than anyone else, and it's really important that you work a plan out which fits your horse the best, and I think he really did that.
So Hasty Imp and Francis Whittington, that is the score to beat at the moment. 47.5. One of 5 clear rounds that we've seen here in the series finale of the Event Rider Masters. Dye-Body, our course designer. And it's certainly proven influential so far. The time perhaps not as influential as originally thought and is perhaps in some of the other legs, but there's still been plenty picking up time penalties. What can this lady do? It is her first international run back from having baby Otis. Janelle Price and Classic Moe, Molly as she's known at home, a horse who finished 4th at the World Equestrian Games back in 2014. Actually, if my memory serves me correctly, it was a pole down on that occasion that cost her an individual medal.
An interesting run when you look at recent form. We have to remember that they haven't been in the ring in 2017, but 2016 going back into the middle of 2015, 1 pole at Burley, 1 at Barbary, 1 at Badminton, 1 at Burley 2015, 1 at Gackham, always won. Classic Moe always won. She has won.
Well, that takes her to 51.3, which drops her a few places on the leaderboard, 4 places on the leaderboard. So she'll need to leave everything else standing to limit the damage, because this horse Derm in the cross country certainly would be a favourite to make the time.
Yeah, fastest horse in the world. She will need the rain to come today, not for Classic Moe, because they can go in any conditions, but it would knock some of the others out. It would make conditions very difficult for others. At the moment, we're not seeing those storm clouds gathering. She has to keep it to 1.
Time looking a bit tight, Fred, or
yeah,
are we
it's
okay?
very close now, I think.
Okay, she's just got the final planks to go. Janelle Price, the clock is about to turn red. 1 pole down and 3 time penalties for her, 54.3. And those time penalties actually really expensive, because they cost her another 4 places on the leaderboard. And that is just showing how close this leaderboard is going to be, Fred.
Yeah, and technically I thought she rode really well, but obviously just a little bit steady and a little bit unlucky with that 1 fence down.
So Janelle Price and Classic Moe, 7 to add for them. And we will be looking for that magic 45 number very shortly, Derm, because just explain the 45 to us after we introduce Millie Dumas and RF West Indy, 46.8 in 22nd position. And this is actually a combination, Derm, that you picked out as one of the best show jumpers in the field.
Yeah, one of the top rated show jumpers. Be interesting to see how to deal with this, because 46.8, it isn't within the magic 45, but if there's any problems anywhere above them, I expect they could be a pair that will climb, but 1 down. That's their first pole that they've had in 6 international runs. That goes all the way back to Marlon Little and Fairhill when they jumped clear. So it's going to be a while. It's a while since RF West Indies had a pole on the ground.
Well, a pole goes here in the series finale of the Event Rider Masters. What happened there, Fred?
Well, both uprights, the horses didn't seem to quite get off the air up in there with the front legs just as well as it does over the oxes or some of the other ones. I don't know if there was something in it or but it definitely looked a little bit different on takeoff.
Well, another poles go as well, so unfortunately 12 to add. This is proven an expensive round. Would this perhaps count for a little inexperience, only a 10-year-old?
Yeah, but then Millie is so experienced when you come in here, so I would have expected her to go really well, and I'm sure she is disappointed with the result.
So Millie Dumas, 3 time penalties as well, 15 to add, 61.8 her total score going forward to the cross country this afternoon. So 5 clear rounds so far as we head towards the top 20 after the first phase, and we just see the first part of the combination go, and that was the first pole this horse has had for a little while, and unfortunately an expensive pole to have here in the Event Rider Masters series. So at the moment, out in front, Francis Whittington, Hasty Imp, they were our latest clear round, adding nothing to their dressage score of 47.5. As next to go, Ros Cantor, Zen Shearer, 45.8. In fact, Ros will be next to go. Catherine Robinson, Let It Be, out on course, 46.4 their score. So 21st position. Serves me right for looking down, not looking up, Fred.
Well, Let It Be jumped clear at Mill Street. A brilliant performance from Catherine. They were clear inside the time in the show jumping at Mill Street and went on to finish 5th, but their speed cross country was the big thing about them that day. That's going to be, Blenheim is going to be a track that could suit Catherine Robinson. I would suggest a clear round here could be very, very valuable. They did have 2 down at Bergam, they did have 1 down at Tattersalls, and they've got 1 down today. You can see how expensive it can be. They're currently now 24th, can't afford any more.
As a trainer, Fred, what would you have advised your riders between the alternative and the planks?
Well, it depends what horse you're sitting on and how able you are as a rider. That distance is very much, you have to be in balance with the horse directly when you land after the plank. Have a good canter on the turn.
Well, only marginally over the optimum time, but marginally enough to have a time penalty. So 4 jumping 1 time, 51.4 for Catherine Robinson. That drops her 4 places on the leaderboard with Let It Be. And it must be quite excruciating to be that close to the time allowed.
Yeah, and these guys put so much effort in to do well here for so many weeks and months before. So it really could be.
So next to go, Ros with the green.
Catherine Robinson and Let It Be in the Event Rider Masters. Here in the series finale at Blenheim Palace International Horse Trials, it is the reverse order show jumping, and we go inside the top 29. Now it is Ros Cantor and her own Zen Shearer. This a horse who was top 10 at Le Moulin this year, had a bit of time off with injury over the last couple of years, and Ros just delighted to have him back. And she really is a top up-and-coming rider. Well, in fact, I think it's safe to say she's arrived now. She's won a European team gold medal. She's been top 5 individually at the Europeans, but she is a master at producing young horses, and this one that she's really produced through the levels herself. 45.8, so we're heading towards the magic number 45 for you, Derm, but this is a horse that show jumping wouldn't always be his strongest phase.
But also not particularly weak. St. Shearer, we heard from Ros yesterday how much of a family pet that he is. I don't think that I don't think that they'll push St. Shearer in any way to bring him out of his comfort zone. He's had 1 down in all of his last 6, apart from Hopeton where he had 2, but never more than that. He's picked up a couple of time penalties. We saw it with Classic Moe, very consistently 1 down. Will we have a clear round today? It looks like it would push Ros up, because there will be some poles to fall ahead of her.
Time looking okay, Fred?
Yeah, time looking okay. I think she's riding with a lot of confidence. Let's see what happens to the last.
So Ros Cantor and Zen Shearer, they clear the last times okay. What a round from this young lady. 45.8. It is clear round number 6. So Ros Cantor stays up the 45.8 going forward to the cross country. But let's go to Alice.
Francis, you were all doom and gloom before the show jumping, but what a round.
This has been a fantastic round for Hasty Imp today. I walked it earlier on today and I thought this is one of the most technical courses that we've seen out here for a while, not just for the ERM, but eventing in general. I think what this shows is bigger fences, more technical, challenging courses, and the horses and riders were rising up to it. It was great fun to ride.
Well, you made it look very easy, and your turnbacks look fantastic.
We've been working on that at home, and trainer here, Nick Miller's here helping me. Just said get in there and really get into the grit of it and ride around it, and Hasty Imp loved it, jumped fantastically.
Well, you're now what Ecker Ratings call a climber.
Well, hey.
Well, we love a climber in the Event Rider Masters. Francis Whittington climbing the leaderboard. And how far will he climb? We'll watch this space. We're inside the top 20 now, 45.5. Tom Jackson and Waltham Fiddler's Find, a combination who completed badminton this year. And Tom, very experienced young rider, making his Event Rider Masters debut earlier on this year at Chatsworth. But the first time he's ridden this horse in the series. And it's brilliant to see some of our younger riders, the real up-and-comers, coming forward and challenging the best in the world.
It's fantastic for them to be here. Me from Sweden, coming from a country with much fewer riders. You know, I wish I had more of my young riders here doing exactly what Tom's doing and getting the experience he's getting.
And holding their own as well.
Absolutely. They are not easy to beat.
Young and hungry. And Dan, from an equa ratings perspective, what could we expect from Waltham Fiddlin's find?
Have to be careful giving a read on this, given the time that they've had off. They've only had 2 internationals in 2017. Before that, you're going back to June 2016. Those internationals were Burnham Market, where they jumped a clear round in this phase and did 1 down and 1 time penalty at Badminton. So, you know, you wouldn't be surprised with either if that's not too bad an answer for a stats person, but certainly no more than that. I'd be hoping for a clear round.
Well, clear so far. The time's looking tight though, Fred.
Yeah, time's a bit tight. Technically, it's looked very good.
Well, he comes round to the final St James's Place planks. The clock is about to turn red. So he jumps clear, but it is going to be time penalties, 4 of them to be exact. 49.5 drops him 3 places on the leaderboard. He goes behind Ros Cantor, behind Francis Whittington, and behind Alex Bragg as well. So Tom Jackson, Waltham Fiddlers find. What was the problem with the time there? Because the time has looked a little bit more achievable.
Yeah, and just watching his round, I thought it looked really good, but I think it just proves how important it is to start big enough from the beginning, and maybe when he revisits his round, he could have had a bigger canter from the beginning. It's very difficult to take the time in towards the end.
Well, next to go is a young lady who's been in very good form and has very good Blenheim form as well. She won the big 8 and 9-year-old class here last year. It is Willa Newton with Father Joey Newton's Neelix. This is a horse 17 years of age now, but has been such a star for Willa over the years. Very much enjoying life at this level and doing it very competitively. They were second at Hartbury last time out, have been top 10 in a very tough 3-star at Bergam as well. 44.9 in 18th position, and this is the first combination derm that we see in the Magic sub-45 territory.
And this is a combination who I would expect to stay in there because they jump clear rounds regularly. Blair, 2016 is the last time they had a pull down, but one of the top rated show jumpers in the field. Neelix, 17, he's jumped 7, 44% from his 16 CIC 3-star runs. Willa, of course, in her 20th international in 2017, and she's going for 10 clear rounds. She's currently on 9, 53%. I'm excited.
The time's looking good.
Yeah, and the horse might not leave that much space between the legs and the jumps, but he seemed to be very aware of what he's doing. Very confident round.
He's 17, he's canny. Well, he clears the last. Willa Newton, clear round number 7. She's delighted. We're delighted for her. 44.9 in 18th position. Derm, she stays on the list.
She stays on the list. If you want to win, you have to be sub 45 and you have to jump clear. No poles, no time. We have it from the 17-year-old Neelix. This is a big moment for this pair. They're still on the list going into the cross-country, and they've a very good cross-country record too. They do pick up some time faults, but they do jump clear regularly. This is a contender now.
I'll go back to you and say that at 17 years of age, he's actually getting a little bit quicker, because at Hartbury a couple of weeks ago, he was only 3 seconds over the time on that occasion, and that was a tough time to get done. So I'm going to put this combination up as a climber into the top 10 for this afternoon's cross country. Now though, we turn our attentions to Australia. One of 5 Australians in the field. It is Sammy Birch with Hunter Valley the second. 44.3 their dressage. Sammy was a little rueful yesterday. I think this horse was pretty pleased to be out and about in the dressage, a little bit too exuberant at times, but 44.3 leaves them close enough, cannot afford any penalties, not even a time penalty, to stay ahead of Willa Newton. But she really moved round that bend.
Yeah, she did. She might have lost the rhythm a little bit, but still jumped the fence well.
And sometimes it doesn't always have to look really pretty. You really want to just get the job done.
Absolutely. In the end of the day, it's the result which matters.
Well, this pair had a pole down at Bramham. They did jump clear and inside the time at Belton. Picked up a pole at Aachen, at Barbary and at Bramham last year. There's your pole now, and we are outside of the top 20 for the first time. That's important.
Well, it drops her below Willa Newton, Ros Cantor and Frances Whittington. 4 places it costs her on the leaderboard. So Sammy Birch will want to limit the damage. 1 pole wouldn't be too bad. The time looks okay. She's just got the final planks to go. And she comes round to them, clears them nicely, just scrapes inside the time as well. So 48.3 she takes forward to this afternoon's cross country in 21st position as things stand at the moment. But that pole down, Fred, he otherwise jumped a very careful round.
Yeah, I think she did a very careful round. When we saw the fence, we saw it from the front, we might get a better view. The horse might get a little bit deeper, not up in the air, which is a bit unusual compared to all the other jumps, which look technically very good.
So Sammy Birch and Hunter Valley the second, they have a pole down. We've 7 clear rounds so far. The person out in front from the horses who have jumped, it is Willa Newton and Neelix ahead of Ros Cantor and Zen Shearer, but Andrew Nicholson comes forward now with Deborah Sellers' Jet Set, 43.9. This is a horse who has won Bramham, has been top 3 at Tattersalls, only a 10-year-old, but one who Andrew said yesterday is among the nicest he's ever sat on. I think that's a quote that we're all going to remember. He sat on Nareo, Avebury, to name just a few, and he must think exceptionally highly of this 10-year-old. 16th position after the first phase. But this is a combination who have in the past had a bit of four-faultitis.
Exactly, just the one. But they did jump clear at Chatsworth 2016. But other than that, you're looking at 1 down, Burnham Market, Tattersalls, Barbary, Bramham and Hartbury. So similar to what we saw with Classic Moy, that consistent 1 down. But as we've said all along, if you want to win here, you've got to be clear in this phase.
Well, a pole down, that costs him 3 places on the leaderboard, 47.9 he stays on at the moment. He's a man who is normally very fast across the country, and he could challenge for the series leaderboard as well. That pole could well have cost him any shot at the series podium. We'll have to watch this space. He's just got the last to go. The time looks okay for him, just. Oh, ooh. No. It just snuck over at the end. So 1 time penalty for Andrew Nicholson and Jet Set, along with that pole down, 48.9. And that drops him outside of the top 20, 48.9. So Andrew Nicholson and Jet Set, just the 1 pole down. He's unfortunately making a habit of that. But that time penalty as well. And it looked like he was just going to sneak inside, and the clock sort of caught up with him.
Yeah, I thought so. And Andrew is such a good rider to judge pace. We see the fence go down again, so it surprised me a little bit.
Well, this is a combination who have been so much a part of the 2017 season. What a year they have had. Sarah Cohen with Pressy Spark and Liz Jones's Treason. They've not been out of the top 10 in any of their 5 Event Rider Masters runs. 43.8. They were consistent in the dressage yesterday. Leaves them in 15th position after the first phase. Well, Mr. T, as he's known, started off at Chatsworth, Wiesbaden with very good clear rounds, but that just did not go to plan for her.
No, and that's what happens when you're that committed for the fence earlier. And I mean, Sarah is a very good show jumping rider in her own right, but that just caused a little bit of trouble for her.
He was very good at the second part of the combination, though.
Yeah, because I think that they are good, they're quick, they rectify their little mistake very quickly.
So she'll be looking to limit the damage to just the 1 pole.
He never has had a pole down at Bramham before, or at Blenheim before. He's been here twice. That could be influential from the series point of view. It could give Mark Todd, a double Olympic champion, a little sniff that there could be a way back into this, onto 2nd place in the podium. Sarah's kept it to 1.
Well, the last goes as well, and that could be the expensive part. 8 to add from the show jumping, 51.8 for Sarah Cohen and Treason. That leaves them in 25th position. So we'll get an update on the series podium for you in just a second, and we just see where it all went a little bit wrong going into the first combination. Such a shame for her, but let's go to Alice.
Our clubhouse leader, Willa Newton, what a round.
Oh, he was brilliant. He jumped really well today. I was thrilled with him.
When I saw you walking the course, your eyes were out on stalks. This is a big track.
Yeah, big track, very twisty, and I was worried about the time, but he felt really, really good today and just on springs.
You two are amazing. You know each other so well. It goes back to European Championships of sort of 2011, and it really showed out there.
Yeah, it really helps knowing him. I know him so well, so he was brilliant.
Well, listen, let's hope you keep climbing. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Willa Newton there talking to Alice. We'll be looking forward to her cross-country round as we went from one series contender straight to another. Sarah Cohen to Sir Mark Todd. Kiltubrid Rhapsody 43.6. That leaves him in 14th after the dressage. He was a little disappointed with his dressage yesterday because he is looking to challenge Sarah Cohen for that second spot on the podium in the series. And Derm, from Echo Ratings' perspective, can he leave all the poles standing to do it?
Mark Todd knows how to do it. Back in 2010, Land Vision, he went in here on a 45. He finished on a 45. He's the last person to finish on his dressage score and go on to win Blenheim. But on this horse, Kiltubrid Rhapsody, still just a 10-year-old. Their last 6 internationals, they haven't had a clear round. They've either had poles down or they've had time falls. They can go, when they jump clear, they pick up time falls. When they don't jump clear and poles fall, they're inside the time. Can they put both things together today? Sarah Cohen has given them a look in.
Well, he did a tight turn to 3, and so I think he's very aware of what he needs to do. Mark Todd is such a good show jumper in his own right. I had the pleasure to work for him for several years. I hope he can keep it together. I should not have said that.
Well, one pole down, and that takes him to 47.6. He would stay ahead of Sarah Cohen, though. But he needs to really, if he's going to challenge for second place on the podium in the series, he really needs to be on the podium in the leg as well, Derm.
He needs to potentially pick up some points. He can't drop too far out of the points. You have to be in the top 15, because don't forget, you've got people like Townend, you've got Rose, you've got lots of people coming to chase down third spot on the series. They want that check as well. That could be important. One down, he's outside the points at the moment.
Well, one pole down, Kiltubrid Rhapsody, Sir Mark Todd, 47.6 for him. Now, he is looking for his 4th counting score for the series, because it is the best 4 series counting scores that go towards the series total. Sarah Cohen has hers locked in. She's on 93 points. She needs to finish 6th or better here to improve that point score. I think after the 2 down in the show jumping Derm, that's unlikely.
I think you're probably right. It would take a huge climb. It doesn't look like that. Here's a woman who does know how to win a series. She's going to be the 2017 Event Rider Masters champion, Gemma Tattersall and Chico Bella P. They had a pole down here last year.
It was an uncharacteristic pole, though, but a horse who is normally very reliable in this phase. She's exceptionally careful, Fred. And as a rider, surely that must be your dream.
Oh, definitely. There's no better feeling than going to a show jumping round and knowing that your horse just does not want to touch the poles.
I imagine as a team trainer it's your dream as well.
Definitely. We need more of them.
So we're into the top 13 here. Gemma Tattersall clear so far with Chica Bella P. 43.2, cannot afford a pole down. Could afford a time penalty to stay ahead of Willa Newton, but no poles down. And she'll be looking to climb inside the top 10 going forward to the cross country this afternoon. Looks to be going fast enough.
Yeah, forward enough and confident enough. I mean, she rides with real confidence at the moment.
So Gemma Tattersall, Chica Bella P comes down the final line. Will this be clear round number 8? Just the final planks to go. The time is fine. And she rattles it, but the planks stay. Clear round number 8 comes courtesy of our 2017 series champion, Gemma Tattersall, Chica Bella P. Now she comes here, Fred, having wrapped up the 2017 season. She's been under immense pressure all year. She actually lost the series here last year in really unfortunate fashion on this horse. It must actually make life a lot easier. She can actually, the pressure's off her shoulders, she can relax, she can enjoy it, or is she going to be super hungry?
I think she's still super hungry. I saw her out on the cross country earlier on another horse here, which she has rode a super round in the long 3-star. I think she's hungry for more, and why shouldn't she be? But she's probably got a little bit more time to enjoy it.
Well, Gemma Tattersall, a fist pump from her as she comes through the finish. Nothing to add for her dressage score of 43.2. She goes to the top of the lead in the clubhouse. Now, though, it is Sarah Bullimore with Brett Bullimore and the Seahorse Syndicate's Lily Corinne. 42.1. They did a super dressage yesterday, left them in 12th position after the first phase. But another to take that slightly longer route to the third.
Yeah, so she must feel that she's got plenty of pace in the horse to still make the time. Let's see what happens.
Well, a clear round would be against the numbers. It would be big for Lily Corinne. You have to jump clear here to stay in the reckoning, but they did have 2 down at Lemoulin. They had 1 at Buccleuch. They had 2 at Blenheim here last year in this class. It was a very different day. It was very, very bad conditions. Potentially unfair to compare those two. It's all going well so far, but can they keep them up? It will be a very big moment for this pair. They have jumped 7 clear rounds at CIC 3-star level already. 54%. That's high. They're well able to do this.
The planks go, and Fred, I think that's the first time we've seen those go today.
Yeah.
And taking the first element of the combination as well, that was unlucky.
It was unlucky. I mean, the horse is a very good cross-country horse and just jumped a few fences a little bit flat and unfortunately just touched them a bit too hard.
So we're 2 down for Lily Corinne and Sarah Bullimore, 50.1, and they drop outside the top 20. So that sees them go forward on 50.1 to the cross country, and actually those 2 poles down cost them 10 places on the leaderboard. That just goes to show, Derm, how closely bunched this group of riders are and how exciting that could prove this afternoon if the cross country time is tight.
This tends to be the phase, Nicole. This tends to be the phase that is going to really influence them here at Blenheim. The cross country is different to some of the other Event Rider Master cross country challenges that we'll have seen. We begin at Chatsworth where the time is massively difficult. Gatcombe, we face those hills again. Blair, you face those hills again. Blenheim's a different track. They have to rely on a different type of challenge because it doesn't bring necessarily the hills. There's lots of questions and I've heard lots of riders talking about it, but I would suggest that show jumping is the phase at Blenheim that could really sort out the leaderboard.
Well, now coming forward, Will Furlong with his own Livingston, 41.3 their dressage. Lovely test from them, left them just outside the top 10. Reverse order, show jumping, remember, and the first we've seen to have the third go.
Yeah, he got that, took that tighter line and didn't really get the horse enough of time to look at what he was doing. Hopefully can keep it together from here and onwards.
So that 1 pole down cost him 2 places on the leaderboard. Both Gemma Tattersall and Willa Newton climb towards the top 10. And he's wearing a sheepskin noseband. What's that for?
Well, it depends a little bit because of his bridles. Sometimes with a thicker sheepskin noseband, you think your horses help the horses to keep their head a little bit lower.
So coming round to the final combination, the final line, Will Furlong, Livingston. The time's looking a little close as well. Got to get round the final fence, the St James's Place planks. He's going to be just about all right. So just the 1 pole down, 45.3. He drops 2 places on the leaderboard. That isn't too expensive for him. 45.3 is his total score going forward to the cross country. So next to go, it will be Bill Levitt. Bill with Shannondale Titan. We're inside the top 10 now here in the series finale, the last show jumping of the 2017 Event Rider Masters series. And it is Bill Levitt with 41.0 from the first phase. That left him in 10th position overnight. And this a combination, Derm, who have been a real staple in the Event Rider Masters series over the last couple of years.
Absolutely, they've become a horse that we associate with the Event Rider Masters. They actually have the highest number of appearances of any horse. This is their 10th Event Rider Masters leg. Oliver Townend has 11 as a rider. He only missed Wiesbaden, but Shannondale Titan has 10 as a horse over those 2 series. From a show jumping perspective, they did jump clear last time out at Blair, but they picked up 4 time penalties. Other than that, you've got to go back to Chatsworth 2017, earlier this season, when they jumped clear and inside the time. They're still on that at the moment, but it can go either way. Can they put all the phases together?
He doesn't look like he's giving them much height.
No,
Fred.
but he started off confident. He's got a good canter in his horse.
Bill Levitt clear so far as he comes to the final fence. Time is okay. Shannondale Titan leaves it standing. What a clear round from Bill Levitt. Shannondale Titan, a number of Australians in the field. He holds his position, he secures himself a position in the top 10 going forward to this afternoon's cross country, and he goes ahead of the lady who has secured the 2017 title, who's with Alice.
Gemma, one thing we do know is that you are the series champion for the Event Rider Masters 2017.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome coming here to ride the beautiful Chica Bella with it already in the bag, and I really enjoyed that show jumping round. She is just such a wonderful horse to ride.
She looked like she loved it. She was bucking out here in the warm-up.
Yeah, she feels on top of the world, actually. One of the best she's ever felt. I'm so happy to have her at an event, and she is just absolutely bursting.
So Bill Levitt just becomes our clubhouse leader, but you're snapping at his heels.
Yeah, and listen, I'm just happy to be here, happy to ride this wonderful horse, and I'm going to go out on the cross country and really enjoy her.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sure she'll be kicking on for the time as well. But now comes Elizabeth Halliday Sharp and Fernhill by Night. 40.3 their dressage, in 9th position after the first phase, and cannot afford any penalties to stay ahead of Bill Levitt and Shannondale Titan, who are currently our clubhouse leaders. So, Derm, from an echo ratings perspective, what could we expect?
Well, the one thing that I've been following as we go with 10 riders to go, we're on 31% clear rate. If we look at the records, Barbary 2016 was 33%, that sits in 3rd. Chatsworth 2016 was 42%, Barbary 2016 was almost 60%. That was the highest one we've ever seen in terms of clear show jumping rounds, but we've got some talent to come in the final 10. If we can see more clear rounds, we could be seeing one of the big clear round venues. We wouldn't have expected it at the start of the day. That just shows the depth of talent that we've got here.
And clear so far, Fred. Looking confident for a clear round?
Yeah, she started well. The horse is jumping well. She's sticking to her lines. Some horses hasn't jumped at fence 8 so well, but she gave it a lot of air. Now let's see what happens.
And you got a really good shot there of just how economical that line was to the combination. She's fine on time. She's clear so far. Elizabeth Halliday Sharp will be clear for the United States of America. She goes ahead of Bill Levitt. She's definitely going to be in the top 10 coming forward to the cross country this afternoon, and she looks rightfully delighted with that.
You got to go all the way back to Barbary 2016 for their last clear inside the time. It's not a bad record, but they'll be delighted with today. That's their 20th. Fernhill by Night, 20th CIC 3-star. That's clear round number 6 from those runs.
Now, importantly, Derm, what can we expect from them in the cross country?
In the cross country, I would say it's probably not their strongest phase because the time penalties can add up on Fernhill by Night, but let's wait and see, because as I've said, Blenheim sometimes won't challenge horses that don't get time penalty, that do get time penalties in the same way as others. We've no time to delay, Nicole, because look who's in the ring. Laura Collick Grand Manoeuvre. This is a horse I'd be very disappointed if we saw a pole fall.
Well, they did a super test yesterday, 39.4, among one of the best this combination have scored in the first phase, in 7th position, but again it is very tight at the top. They're within a fence of our leader Izzy Taylor and Be Touchable, but they cannot afford to have any penalties to stay ahead of Elizabeth Halliday Sharp and Fernhill by Night. He's a really extravagant jumper though, isn't he, Fred?
Yeah, it is, and it looks like she started fast enough as well. Oops, little misunderstanding maybe on takeoff there.
And nearly crashed into a Land Rover as well. So 1 pole down for Laura Collick Grand Manoeuvre. That drops her just outside the top 10 as things stand. 43.4 would see her go behind Gemma Tattersall. Would cost her in total 4 places on the leaderboard. Just coming round to the final planks, Laura Collick Grand Manoeuvre clears it nicely, so just the 1 pole down, and that would have been reasonably unlucky.
Yeah, it would be, but I think shows a little bit still how technical that line is from fence 3 to 4 to 5A and 5B. You have to be so technically accurate all the way down and very easy to make a mistake.
Well, Laura Collett has jumped more show jumping clears than any other rider in this field this year. She sits alongside Izzy Taylor. They both have 88% clear rate from 26 runs. That's across all her horses. That includes the wonderful Mr. Bass in there as well. Grand Maneuver, very talented in his own right. That's his 20th CIC 3-star. We're in the middle of that now, but he hasn't added to his clear rounds. He's 8 under his belt. One day that we're just seeing now. That's unfortunate.
So Laura Collett and Grand Maneuver, an unlucky 4 faults drops her outside the top 10 as things stand. But now we're into the top 7 and within a fence of our leader, remember. So a clear round really puts the pressure on and will guarantee a climb closer to that podium. Chris Burton, Graf Liberty, they were on the podium at Blair Castle just a few weeks ago, and they're one of the fastest combinations across the country. So if they're clear in this phase, they are ones to be really big players for a podium finish. 39.4 their dressage. And from an echo ratings perspective,
it's a big if, Nicole, but you're dead right. If they're clear in this phase, they become a huge challenge. Chris said in the interview yesterday himself, this isn't necessarily Graf Liberty's strongest phase. The stats back that up, but let's wait and see. A hugely experienced rider, 60 CIC 3-stars under his belt. He's almost jumped clear in half of those as a rider. We're only on a 20% clear rate from 10 runs for Graf Liberty at this level.
Now, Fred, sometimes a horse can just rub a pole and it goes, but that was definitely going to go.
Yeah, that was definitely going to go and hit it very much front to back in the roll-off really easy. Sometimes you can be a little bit lucky if you hit them from above.
Well, Chris Burton 1 pole down, so 43.4 would keep him inside the top 10, would keep him close enough. He just has the last to go. The time is fine. And he still stays within sight of the podium, but he'll be ruining that pole down, 43.4, and he'll stay inside the top 10. But we have just 6 combinations left to go. Now, Derm, in terms of your list, let's just explain to the viewers, you're looking for 45 or less to win here at Blenheim.
No, well, 45 or less in the first phase. So I only put people on the list if they got a 45 or below. All the riders that you're seeing on your screens at the moment are in that. We're in reverse order, of course. And then you can't, looking so far at the stats, you can't have a pole or you can't have a time penalty. That's what keeps them on my list. I've only got 4 people if we're to follow the algorithm.
Who are on the list?
Willa Newton stays there. Gemma Tattersall stays there. Bill Levitt and Liz Halliday stay there. Looking at some of the names who've come off the list, it's an amazing run. We don't have time for it now because Pippa Funnell and Chapia are in course. This is the one that could jump a clear round. They've never had a pole as a combination.
Well, they were top 5 at Barbary in the Event Rider Masters a little bit earlier on this year. Pippa hasn't had the easiest of seasons, but show jumping would certainly be one of her best phases. And actually, Fred, she show jumps a lot in pure show jumping. That'll really help her here with the technical course.
Yeah, it really helped because as soon as you show jump and 140 and above, everything gets a little bit more technical, and you come into this arena and it just looks a bit smaller as opposed to walking in for some of the riders, and it might be the biggest course they've ever seen.
And she'll know exactly what line she has to take and just how far she needs to go to be inside the time allowed as well.
Oh, absolutely. What she doesn't know about show jumping and eventing, I don't know if that's really worth knowing. She's very, very good at what she's doing.
So Pippa Funnell and Chapia clear so far. Derm, you put them up as an echo ratings clear round. Happy so far?
Happy so far. Again, so much of it relies on the rider. She's been here 5 times in this class. She's jumped clear twice, but from 121 CIC 3-star starts this decade, she's jumped clear in over half them. We've got one down. Big moment.
Well, 1 pole down costs her places on the leaderboard, 43.3. She drops 3 places to 9th. She stays inside the top 10 though. And that will be 1 pole for Pippa Funnell, Chapia. And Fred, from a sort of a viewer watching that, it looked a really comfortable round. You felt confident watching that it was going to be clear.
Really confident, but even the fence she had done, she has landed on the back bar a little bit. Didn't quite just stretch out enough over the Oxer. Small mistake, but even for the best riders, it's tough in here.
Well, it certainly is, and the crowds have been building. It is a big arena here at Blenheim Palace International Horse Trials. It is the series finale of the Event Rider Masters. We have 5 combinations left to go. The reverse order show jumping, the reverse order cross country a little bit later on this afternoon promises to be an exciting conclusion to the 2017 season. We will of course be broadcasting the series finale prize giving as well a little bit later on. Gemma Tattersall already crowned the 2017 champion, but the podium is wide open. Who will be on it remains to be seen. We know it will be Gemma Tattersall stood on the top spot, but this man could certainly muscle his way in, and a clear round in this phase would throw open his chances for a big climb onto the podium. Tim Price with Ascona M, 38.6 there, Dressage. For 5th position after the first phase, cannot afford a pole down to stay ahead of our clubhouse leader, Elizabeth Halliday-Sharp on 40.3. Now, Derm, they jumped clear at Herradupin just a few weeks ago to win the CCI 3-star. On that occasion, they finished on their dressage score. Can they do it again here?
Well, they jumped clear as well at Tattersall's in the Nations Cup. Picked up 1 time penalty that day to finish 3rd. Can they jump clear? They absolutely can. They've 2 poles down. That's between Tim and Janelle, going all the way back in their last 6 international runs. 1 pole with Janelle at Summerford Park in the CIC 2-star. 1 with Tim at Jardy. This is still just a 9-year-old. Ascona M is a horse that a lot of people are talking about. We have to take the pressure off her because she's so young, still learning her trade, but everything we've seen so far looks very, very impressive. Look at that dressage score and look at this round so far.
Now, he's had the first part of the treble. Does that still class as a pole down?
Yes, it definitely does, but it's not a normal fence to have done. You can see the horse, it jumps very well and nearly a little bit too high sometimes.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that lowest pole on a treble come down, but everything else stay up.
Well, it happens, but it is not normal, you're right.
So that is an expensive 4 faults for Tim Price, Ascona M. He's still close enough, but Elizabeth Halliday-Sharp continues her climb up into the top 5. She is certainly making the most of that clear round, but some very clever riding through the combination there.
Yeah, the horse is really scope, and I think you can see the horse is a little bit green still, so I'm sure this is a very exciting horse for the future.
So just sneaking inside of the time allowed, the 1 pole down sees Tim Price inside the top 10, 42.6 going forward to this afternoon's cross country. He's having a bit of a smile about that pole down, but let's go to Alice and one of our clear rounds.
Our clubhouse leader is Liz Halliday-Sharp, the USA. Liz, you're climbing.
Oh my goodness, I didn't expect that at all. It's such a class field, but you know, I'm thrilled. It's all about how great my horse was today, really.
We haven't seen a much since Rolex, but coped today brilliantly.
Yeah, he feels literally the best he's ever felt in his life, and this is exactly how we want him before cross country. He's, you know, he can be a tricky cross country horse, but when he feels like this, it's the best time to have a really good go at it. So I'm really looking forward to it this afternoon.
We're going into the top 4. 2 of them have to go clear to stay ahead of you. 2 of them can have a fence and stay ahead of you. Good luck.
Thank you. No pressure.
Well, Liz will no doubt be watching with a couple of other riders as our last 4 combinations go. We have just 4 coming forward. They are Oliver Townend, Alex Huatian, Shane Rose and Izzy Taylor. Of those 4, Derm, how many can we be jumping clear?
I would think CP qualified is uncertain. I mean, I wouldn't suggest that'll be clear. I think Izzy Taylor will be clear. Who else am I dealing with?
Oliver Townend.
That'll be clear.
Okay, so we're going for 3 out of 4. Don Gennaro?
Won't be clear. 2 out of 4.
What can this man do? Oliver Townend, Cooley Masterclass. He took the series title here last year. He left it very late in the 2016 season, but a podium finish in 2nd place here 12 months ago secured him the inaugural Event Rider Masters title. He can't take the top spot this time, but he can very much be on the podium. And after Tim Price's pole down, he will be looking for a clear round. 38.3, and this a horse, who is normally very good in this phase.
A horse who's very good in this phase, a rider who's very good in this phase, and also the next one. If they're clear here, if they're within touching distance, they're through that tricky combination at 5. If they're clear here, I expect they become certainly up there with Izzy Taylor as favourites for the leg. They will push Izzy all the way. That's a combination. Don't forget at Gackham last year in the Event Rider Masters, Nicole, they went head to head going cross country. Izzy came unstuck that day. Ollie went on to win. We could see a repeat today. Cooley Masterclass on course for a clear round so far.
Yeah, I think Ollie, he rides with so much confidence, and coming off a win at Burley, that might just help. I would back him to jump clear here.
Well, he's coming to the final combination. The time isn't looking overly generous at the moment. He's 12 seconds to get home, but he is clear jumping so far. And he's just got the final planks to go. He clears them and adds nothing to his dressage score, 38.3. That's the score he takes forward going forward to this afternoon's cross country. He's in 4th place at the worst, but if any of the next combinations have any faults, then he will climb onto the podium. Derm, you said he'd jump clear, he did.
It's, you know, you don't need a whole lot of numbers with this horse. Cooley Masterclass had 1 down at Blair. That was a big surprise. Other than that, you've got a long line of clear rounds. From 9 CIC 3 stars, he has jumped clear in 6 of them. He's jumped clear 3 times already this year, but Oliver Townend as a rider, 14 times he's been in this class. That's clear round number 5 for him. This is where it gets interesting, Nicole. We move on to a former winner, the Blenheim 2016 winner, Alex Watien of China with Don Janeiro. We didn't think he could jump clear at Blenheim. He proved us wrong. It's a horse I would suggest, constantly have to say it could be anything, but a clear round today is what is needed, but can it deliver? I'm not backing it for a clear round, Nicole. I'm going to say it again. I don't think it'll be clear. Come on, Don Janeiro, prove me wrong.
Well, I really hope Don Janeiro does prove you wrong, Dem. Alex Watien, 1 in a billion, the only person to win an Event Rider Masters leg by finishing on his dressage score. That was Blenheim 2016, 36.4. Brilliant to see this horse back to his very best in the dressage, but the pole goes, and that means Oliver Townend will be on the podium going forward to this afternoon's cross country. But it's now starting to unravel slightly, Fred, and 3 fall in quick succession.
Yeah, I've seen this horse do very good rounds. I've seen this horse do rounds where some poles have come down. So now for Alex is very much to try to get some confidence and rhythm back in the horse. He has to get back to do some jumping again.
How do you manage that? Because it's all going so well, then all of a sudden 3 poles have gone, you're 12 faults, and you've got to regroup.
Yeah, and that could be hard. That could be hard. But I think so far it's just what he's done. He found a little bit more rhythm again. The horse looks a bit more settled.
So Alex Watien, Don Janeiro, 3 down, an expensive 3, dropping well outside the top 10. It means Oliver Townend will be on the podium going forward to this afternoon's cross-country phase. And the last 3 time penalties as well drop him outside the top 20. So 15 to add for Alex Watien and Don Janeiro. And while he isn't always the most reliable in the show jumping term, that's a real shame.
Hugely disappointing. I mean, Don Janeiro is just such a fan favourite that everybody just wants it all to come together on the same day for this pair, and it has before and it will again. They've represented us so well. Took a huge amount away from Rio, but we've no time because Shane Rose, Australia, CP qualified, is in. Nicole, this is all about the ground. This is all going to be about how CP qualified handles the ground. He's jumped clear and inside the time at Aachen. He jumped clear and inside the time at Barbary. But when the ground was a bit softer, here last year, for example, we 2 down, Blair 2 down, and Gackham in the mud. We had a day to forget with 20 jumping penalties in this phase. What looks good so far, but will CP qualify, the snowman as he's known, handle the ground here?
Well, this is a horse that is won at 4-star level, has been to an Olympic Games, and has given him some good placings in the series so far as well. Went very well at Barbary a little bit earlier on this year. They've been so successful at Aachen. And is this a horse you familiar with, Fred?
I've seen it a little bit, not too much, but he certainly started to jump very well here. So if the ground is something to go by, he seemed to be liking it.
He looks to be liking it, and when he likes it, Nicole, he jumps clear. This is potential moment for not just this leg, but also for the series. He's still chasing down Mark Todd. He's still in there with Oliver Townend, trying to make sure they can get on the series podium. He's going to give it a good go. All good so far.
Well, the time is fine. He rubs the final part of the combination, but it stays. That's the important thing. He just comes around to the final planks. He clears them, and that piles the pressure on. He won at Blair Castle just a few weeks ago with Virgil to be our first Australian winner of the Event Rider Masters. He is in pole position so far. One lady can beat him. We'll see her in a minute. Let's go to Alice.
Felt.
Alex, I can't believe it. I don't even want to do this interview.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. I can't even describe it. Gatkami, I had a couple down, but we were really going for the time, and it was a progressive round for us. And today he just was a bit tight at the beginning, had 3 down in a row, and then settled down and jumped quite well. But just frustrated.
Really frustrating. I'm so sorry. We all thought that this weekend was the Don's weekend.
Yes, so did I.
So we have just one more combination to go. Will it be an Australian rider leading going into the cross country, or will it be a British one? Shane Rose is the top of the podium at the moment, 35.8, but he is just 0.1 behind this lady. Izzy Taylor, our dressage leader with Be Touchable, 35.7 her dressage yesterday, just enough to sneak her ahead of Shane going into this second phase. And she needs to jump clear inside the time to hold that position at the top of the leaderboard going forward to this afternoon's cross country. Now, Derm, I know Equa Ratings are a big fan of this horse and a big fan of his show jumping prowess as well.
And a big fan of the rider. She's jumped more clear rounds, 23 clear rounds in 2017. 10 together, Be Touchable and Izzy Taylor. They've only had 1 rail in that time. They're the top rated show jumper in the field. They're in the lead. Will they stay there? The stats say they will.
Now, Fred, what are your thoughts?
Well, they started really well. They're jumping absolutely fantastically. A little bit in the back of my mind, sometimes when horses go that high, it takes a little bit more time, but I think it's all right.
She can't afford a time penalty. Is she going quickly enough?
It looks like it, I think so. Again, she is so experienced.
She'll know what she's got to do. Izzy Taylor and Be Touchable coming round to the Event Rider Masters planks with 20 seconds left on the clock. She's there or thereabouts.
No time penalties in recent history. Hartbury 2016 is the only pole that we have on the record. 10 internationals, 10 cleared. Need this one to stay in the lead.
Well, she's got to jump it to hold that position. She does, easily inside the time. Cool as a cucumber. Izzy Taylor will be on top of the podium going forward to this afternoon's cross country. 35.7, just ahead of Shane Rose. But Be Touchable Derm lives up to that flawless or almost flawless show jumping record.
I love it when the numbers don't lie. We said it all along. And if you really want to frighten all those people who are still behind Izzy Taylor, in their last 4 cross-country rounds, they've jumped clear in all of them. They've picked up 1 second cumulatively in all those rounds. They know how to go clear inside the time. They're one of the top-rated horses in Britain on our stats. It's going to come true today.
Well, watch this space. She is marginally ahead of the man who won at Blair Castle. Can he climb again up the leaderboard, Alice? Let's find out.
Well, Shane, you're a dangerous man when your tail's up. You come here off the back of a win at Blair, and that was a really smart show jumping round. Well done.
Yeah, no, really happy. He's a great little horse, and he really tried today. He loves the ground. I think at Gatcombe he didn't really like the ground there, but when you get a bit of reaction back from the ground, he really tried, and he felt like $1 million out there.
And you've been up here all summer. You've brought your whole family up. You've been targeting the RM. It's a massive thing.
Yeah, no, it is. It took us a little while to get started. Just had a few issues with, just coming over a different country and the horses picking up little, bugs and things like that. But they've really all sort of hit their straps now, and the season's finishing off really well. And hopefully the cross country goes well this afternoon and it can finish with a bang.
Well, you've shown everyone the way for so many years down under, and now you're certainly showing that you're matching it with the world's best up here. Shane, great to have you here. Good luck cross country. Just 0.1 separating you and Izzy.
Yeah, look, Izzy's a champion rider, so look, I'm going to try and do my best, and if I can put some pressure on, that's great.
Well, I certainly wouldn't bet against the steely Australian determination coming through this afternoon. The course very quickly being dismantled here in the main arena. The show jumping for the series finale is over. Joining me in the studio for all the show jumping, Fred Burden-Godorf and Derm Byrne. 13 clear rounds, Derm. Was that a lot more than you expected, I think?
Early on, yes. I revised it fairly quickly, Nicole. The best thing about playback on the Event Rider Masters is we can go back and say it. We did say it could move easily into that 12-13 zone. So it has worked out as that 33% jump clear. That falls in at number 4 in Event Rider Masters history of those venues. Barbary and Chatsworth from 2016 and Barbary 2017 in there. A lot of clear rounds, but a lot of talent that we saw today. But look who we've got left at the top. That's when it really gets exciting for me.
Well, we'll come to your list in a few moments, but let's go and hear from the lady who is on top of the podium going forward to this afternoon's cross country. Can she win her first ever Event Rider Masters leg?
Izzy Taylor, congratulations. Leading after the dressage, leading after the show jumping. We know it's a 3-phase competition, but that was a class round.
Yeah, he's a fantastic jumper. I'd have been disappointed to have a fence, but it was a proper course, and we all know little mistakes can creep in.
Daibody's course really caused some concern with the riders when they were walking it. There was a definite sense that this was very, very tough, but you guys really matched up.
Yeah, I think it did walk very tough, but I think the riders gave it respect that it needed, and then it paid off with some really good clear rounds.
Certainly did. Going into cross country, just 0.1 separating you and the Australian ace, Shane Rose. What tactics?
Well, hopefully speed, but Shane's pretty speedy too, so we'll see what happens.
Come on, Izzy, we need to see you on that podium. Well done. 2 down, 1 to go.
Thank you.
Well, Izzy Taylor, will she be fast enough? Nothing in hand across the country so far over Shane Rose. She is holding on to that top spot at the moment. Be touchable 35.7, but only just ahead of Shane in second. Oliver Townend, another to keep an eye on for the series. Cooley Masterclass, that notoriously quick across the country and has already been on the podium twice this year. Great to see Elizabeth Halliday Sharp in there, climbing up into 4th place on Fern Hill by night. A little bit further down, Willa Newton climbs up to 11th with Neelix, an excellent clear round, one of 13 clear rounds, 44.9, and that'll mean 11 horses on the Equa rating sub 45 list. Sir Mark Todd, Kiltubrid Rhapsody, 47.6. That one pole down for him could prove very expensive going forward to the cross country this afternoon in terms of the series. Matt Heath, Cooley Lord Lux, Blythe Tate, Dasset Courage, another of those clear rounds, but expensive round for Alex Huatian and Don Gennaro. That around that it was a heartbreaking interview with Alex there. He's so disappointed. And also disappointment for Millie Dumas, RF West Indy, normally such a reliable show jumping, but unfortunately some penalties for her in this final phase. So that concludes the show jumping phase here at the series finale of the Event Rider Masters. It is Blenheim Palace International Horse Trials. We've got the cross country to look forward to this afternoon. The Equa ratings list, we've talked about it a lot the last couple of days. Just explain to us what it is and who is still left.
Well, I think you have to be very careful as you move towards the cross-country phase when you begin to just play by the algorithms. Now's the time that you have to take into account the ground, the speed, like what that will do psychologically. When you think about the 2 riders who are behind our leader, Shane Rose, probably one of the most determined Aussies I ever met, of a nation of determined people. Then you got Townend sitting behind us. Shane Rose and Townend are hunting down Izzy Taylor. She's tough, but
so are they.
Yeah, absolutely. Psychologically, I mean, you can't tell that from, that's not the things the numbers can look at. What we said about the list all along is that you've got to be sub 45 in the dressage. You can't knock any poles. Looking at who's done that, Izzy Taylor's done it, Shane Rose has done it, Oliver Townend has done it, and a couple more. They're the 3 that we're going to have to focus on from here on in, because it's going to be difficult, I think, to pull any of those 3 back.
And Fred, looking at the show jumping Daibody's track, it wasn't quite as tough as we expected, but it was a really top-class field, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an absolute top-class field. I thought they saved the best for last with Izzy Taylor's round. I thought she did a fantastic job. The course I thought still was really technical, and the way I thought of it, because of the time maybe not quite as tight as they thought from the beginning, it just rode that little bit easier, but still very tough.
So heading forward to this afternoon's cross country, because that is what we need to turn our attention to now. Izzy Taylor out in front. Derm, can she stay there?
Absolutely she can. Talent in the rider. I mean, if you look at experience, Izzy Taylor has more international runs than any other female rider in the world this year. Only one person. He's 2 runs more than her, and that's, of course, Oliver Townend. He's sitting just behind. From an experience point of view, yes, she can do it. She's won 7 internationals in 2017. She's won 14 in her whole career. She's the in-form rider in the world this year. Yes, absolutely. 1 second in her last 4 cross-country runs. She's won 2 of them. She can do it. I worry about Rose and Townend coming behind her because absolutely they can as well. If there's any slips, and don't forget Gatcombe last year, 2016 Event Rider Masters, Izzy went out in the lead, Townend sat behind her, Izzy picked up 20 penalties, Kilnabrid Evo went home to win. It really made the champion 2017. That was a big turning point in the series. We cannot let history repeat itself. Izzy Taylor, get out there and do this. We have to see
we hope she's
Izzy
watching.
Taylor on the podium.
Well, Fred, do you think Izzy can hold on? Your winner?
Absolutely, of course you can. And I know how determined the other 2 boys are. Izzy's a local girl from around here. I hope she can do it.
Well, watch this space because the show jumping has been completed here in the series finale of the Event Rider Masters. We have so much still in store for you this afternoon. It promises to be an incredible finish to the 2017 Event Rider Masters series. We've got the series finale prize giving for you as well. We are live with all of the action at 2:30. The first horse goes out on course at 2:45. We'll see you this afternoon.
Push it,